She's over me. She's over me. Ladies and gentlemen, how y'all doing out there? Welcome to the Night Terrors. Paranormal Portal, of course, but these are our Night Terrors. The Night Terrors are our shorter version of the Paranormal Portal, about an hour, where we cover one kind of phenomena for the whole hour. The whole hour is dedicated to just one kind of phenomena. Now, when I say one kind of phenomena, I don't mean just one thing. I mean anything within that phenomena. So tonight we are taking a journey into the cryptid corner, which is anything cryptid or cryptozoological. And we've got a few different beings to cover tonight, so it should be a good journey. I know that a lot of you guys out there are really into the whole cryptozoology and the idea that there are a lot of undiscovered beings or creatures out there. And so we're going to talk about a few of those tonight and hopefully have a great time doing it. So I don't know about you, but I think this is exciting. Don't you? Excuse me. Sorry. I had a hairball. But I'm not just talking to myself. I'm not just making stuff up here. I'm not speaking to the other voices inside my head. I'm speaking to my firstborn, Mr. Sheldon Thomas, who's joining me. How you doing, Sheldon?
Doing well as always. How are you doing?
I'm doing well too. Thanks for asking. Thanks for joining us once again. It's a lot of fun to have you on here and to do this, father and son.
I'm sorry. I need to stop you. I'm hearing you twice in my my earphones.
That's almost better than just once, right?
I'm hearing myself and you on a 5-second delay.
How about you disconnect and reconnect on Skype and see if that irons it out?
Yeah, I can't even respond right now, to be honest. I keep hearing you.
Okay, go ahead. Disconnect and reconnect.
Okay.
All right. Until he gets back, ladies and gentlemen, I'll just be championing the cause, as it were, just me and you, and just like old times. But yeah, we're going to just take a journey into the cryptid corner. Got a bunch of different articles and things to discuss with you. So hopefully it'll be a good experience throughout the course of the show. If you have some kind of experience of your own, hopefully cryptid related. But if you have one and you wouldn't mind being a caller to the show, please call in. The number is 720-923-0500. Those are the numbers for fun right here on the Paranormal Portal. And by God, I hope you do it. And hello to all of you out there. He's still hearing it. I don't know where that's coming from. It's got to be on your end, buddy. There's nothing on my end that should be sending you an echo. Are you guys out there in the YouTube audience? Are you guys hearing an echo out there? Let me know in the chat if you would, please. Hello, Richard. Good to see you. Hello, Mom. I see Portal Mom's in there. That's my mom, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a family affair here on the Paranormal Portal. Nope, no, Mom. Portal Mom's not getting an echo. So much Jake's not. No echoes. It's all on your end, buddy. I don't know where you're getting the echoes from, but he reconnected. Okay, just go ahead and do what you got to do. But he says he's going to be working on it, trying to fix it. So he's sending me encrypted messages. No, he's just sending me messages on Skype as we're going here. But I think, Sheldon, if you're listening, actually close down Skype, relaunch it, and send me a text message, and I'll reconnect with you then, okay? All right, because sometimes Skype gets these weird echoes going on, and it may be any number of reasons. Could be some kind of feedback loop from when you were playing games earlier. So anyway, just a thought. But he's going to reconnect and do that. But you and I, we're going to continue on as if everything is absolutely normal. At least as normal as it ever gets here on the Paranormal Portal. But good to see you guys. Hey there, Wes. He doesn't have an echo either. Good to see you.
It's fixed. I know the problem was. Oh, man. I know what the problem was.
What's going on, rookie?
I had it playing on Discord, too.
Oh, yeah, that'll be a bit of a problem, wouldn't it? Okay. You know what, though? I can't be too hard on you because I can't tell you how many times I've done things like that and just be like, oh, my God, what's going on? Yeah. You know, and it just makes you like mentally vapor lock. It's like, God, this doesn't make sense. And then you find out it's something stupid like that. So, well, I'm glad you got it sorted out. And I guess that's all the front end stuff I got for you guys. Don't forget at the end of the show we're going to do the Trail Cam Terrors, and this one's a extra special one. We're pulling deep from the Germer files, so you guys will have to tune in and wait for that. That'll be at the end of the episode, so we'll get to that a little bit later. But until then, I hope you all are ready because it's time for bed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now officially underway here on the Paranormal Portal, and don't feel bad, Sheldon. I'm serious. Like, honestly, I've done that same thing about 15 times or more, probably hundreds of times, actually, through the years of doing the show. It's just always some silly, stupid thing, and then it gets you just crazy. But once you sort it out, it's like, oh, I can't believe I forgot that.
Oh, I'm honestly relieved that it was something that's simple and not something I have to scour into my audio options and all that business. I don't want that.
No, I don't want that either. It'd be a long show if we had to wait for that. No. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I got a bunch of stuff pulled up here to go through with you all. And let me just get some of that queued up here for us to discuss tonight. And the first, actually, we're going to do an article from Brent Swanser as well. This one deals with several different types of cryptids, or maybe it's the same type. I don't know. I'm always amazed by the various types of cryptids or the many catalog of beings that are out there that we just don't know about. In our own arrogance and hubris, we think that, we got this all sorted. Oh, this stuff is normal. Everything's categorized, labeled, and compartmentalized in our sciences. So we have this arrogance, but when something pops up that doesn't fit in, and it sends us all on a tailspin. And of course, everybody knows about Sasquatch. Everybody knows, many of us know about Dogman, who's essentially a modern day counterpart to the werewolf legends and stuff. And it's probably the same things. It's just gone through the ages with different names. Sheldon, what's your thoughts on the cryptids? What do you think of all that idea that there's things out there we just don't know about?
I find it infinitely not satisfying, intriguing, because it's these things of like myth and legend, basically, incarnated into our reality in a sense. Like it leads us all the way back to, I guess, when these things were first talked about, discovered, and theorized and all that. It's really fascinating to me. It's like one of the subjects in the Paranormal Portal that I'm probably interested in the most because I know probably the least amount out of all the subjects. Yeah,
I would say that that's pretty fair. I think that's probably the case for all of us. I mean, honestly, the whole idea that there's these undiscovered beings out there, and along with that means that we really don't know much of anything about them. There's some people out there that would tell you that, I'm an expert on Bigfoot. I'm an expert on this or that. And I know a few of them. But it doesn't make sense because, since Wes is here, I'll paraphrase him. But he says, who's got one in their garage they're studying? And nobody does. So we really don't know anything about these things other than what we want to believe. And sometimes that's good and sometimes that's bad. But actually, it's just a big pile of unknowns. We just don't know. We don't know for sure what they do, what they don't do. We don't know for sure where they go or they don't go. We don't know for sure if they're, we don't know for sure anything really, but we have a lot of ideas. We have a lot of people that are looking into finding as much information as they can. And my hat's off to everybody that does that, because where modern science has failed this, and I mean that sincerely, because, anytime our scientific communities just go, whatever, that to me is an ugly arrogance, because there is still so much we need to learn and know. And it's not just all out in the deep Laurentian abysses in the ocean and stuff. Some of it's in your backyard. Some of it's in the night skies, or it's right around us, but we just have this utter arrogance. So it's going to be people that are enthusiastic and willing to expend their own energy, their own blood, sweat, and tears and finances to look into this, that are going to be breaking that new ground. And so my hat's are really off to a lot of people that are out there doing this, because they're the ones that are going to substantiate this to the world at large. And it's not a new phenomena, as Lloyd Pye was doing his talk, Everything You Know Is Wrong. And you can find that on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, if you look around, Lloyd Pye, Everything You Know Is Wrong. It's about a 2-hour talk that he gave. But Lloyd Pye did a wonderful job putting this talk together, and he talks about the pandas. When the pandas were first talked about, people were sure that was just a bunch of hooey. It was just a bunch of bunk. There's no way they're these black and white animals that are big, that are remaining undiscovered in the forests of China, of remote China. They just didn't believe it. And more unbelievable was the idea that it basically substantiated itself on plants. There's no way there's something this big that's just, surviving on bamboo or eucalyptus or whatever. No, I guess it's koalas eat the eucalyptus. But anyway, there's no way that could be. And so it took several expeditions, like 60 years of expeditions, to finally substantiate the panda. And people had such ideas like, oh, they must be so smart because they're avoiding us. They stay away from us. They must be so smart, these pandas. And they had all these ideas about what these pandas were. And as Lloyd Pye puts it in that speech, he goes, then we found them. And we found out they're about as smart as a bag of hammers. And they're sitting there in the green forest. They're black and white, eating plants, and just basically obtuse little things. And they're of course, they're adorable. But it was this revolutionary idea that there could be such a thing as a panda. And certainly the mountain gorillas were another one, and so on and so forth. There's all these species that were just discarded and have since become part of our catalog biology of our planet. And so it isn't that hard to believe that there could be many, many more. So I think that's
Yeah.
interesting. It's a great example of how things are dismissed and disregarded with contempt. It's a contemptible idea to think about these Bigfoot being out there. But I am encouraged because, more and more people seem to be opening their eyes to the possibilities. More and more people are seeing things. More and more people are talking about what they're seeing than ever before. So, but again, I think it'll be, the people that are going out there on their weekends or after they get done with a shift at work, they're going out and looking for things. It's going to be those kind of people that are going to put it on the map, in my opinion. I might be absolutely wrong, but it just seems to me there's a lot to this world we don't know. So first off, we're going to discuss a quick little article, and this is an article coming from edinburghlive.co.uk. And it's a news site. And what is it? Edinburgh Live is the news site. So this is talking about some Nessie stuff. And the Loch Ness Monster, of course, is one of the most popular of the undocumented cryptids out there. It's been cited forever and still is, apparently, according to this article. Loch Ness Monster spotted for the second time in 11 days as 12-foot creature is sighted. And this is from, when was this published? This was 7th of August, so just a few days ago.
Wow.
The prehistoric beast allegedly rose 2 feet out of the loch before diving down into the murky waters in the second recent sighting recorded by experts at Loch Ness. And there's a depiction of what was seen for those of you on, everybody's on YouTube tonight. So it apparently rose up to like 18 inches out of the water, was 10 to 12 feet of what was observed coming out of the water. That's very interesting. And it says the Loch Ness monster has reportedly made a second appearance in the space of 11 days after being spotted surfacing from her mythological home. A tourist from the northwest of England reported seeing the prehistoric beast rise 2 feet from the murky Highland waters before descending back into the PT depths. PT depths. God, that's tough to pronounce. While on holiday late last month. The spotter, identified only as Mr. Vcock. Sorry.
Wow.
I'm right out of high school here, folks. You got to forgive me. Sketched a diagram of the shape he saw through a pair of binoculars. 2/3 of the way across the loch, claiming it could be up to 12 feet in length. Well, it could be a lot longer too, if that's what he saw. The sighting has become the 9th added to the official register, which catalogs all recorded encounters with the loch's most famous resident. It comes less than a fortnight after a father and daughter claimed to have seen Nessie moving through the water while hiking nearby. Look at that. I don't think that's an actual picture. That would be game over if that was a real picture. But anyway, he said he originally thought it was according. Okay, where was I?
Wow.
According to the latest entry dated July 30th, Mr. Vcock, visiting from the northwest of England, was parked up by the last bay. The last lay? L-A-Y? Does he mean bay? I think he means bay. By north of the castle, scanning the loch with his binoculars when he noticed something 2/3 across the loch away. He originally thought it was a foot high He originally thought it was a foot high and some 5 feet long, but later was able to compare it with the Jacobite warrior as it passed the area. As such, he stated that what he observed was easily the length of the handrail of the rear of the boat, which led him to reassess what he saw as nearly 2 feet high and then 10 to 12 feet long. He said the same was witnessed by 2 other families in the lay-by. I guess lay is right. Lay-by. Or lay-by. I don't know. All right. The register maintained by a team of volunteers categorizes sightings of the plesiosaurus. That's a bit of nobody knows it's a plesiosaurus. But anyway, back to the earliest description in the 6th century when it was reportedly halted in its tracks by Saint Columba. Yeah. Plesiosaurs typically grew to a length of around 11 feet, according to fossil records, placing its size right in the middle of Mr. Vcock's estimate. Thousands of sightings with a range of validity have been recorded, including 9 in 2021. The register can be viewed in full here. Well, let's have a look.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where this image came from, but God, if that was a valid image, geez.
What does it say under the picture? Like there's a little description.
Yeah, it says Nessie has been spotted for the 9th time this year. And that's all it says. But I don't think that's what they spotted, because that would be the one that would be the Patterson Gimlin of Nessie right there, if that was the case. But here's the sightings register as it exists currently. There are a few pictures here. There's, of course, the sketch that we just covered. There's this one. I guess it's, I don't know. It's not showing much.
Can you click and pop it up, or does it not let you?
No, it's not a link. It's just embedded. So it's not a poppable link. There's one that shows something interesting there. We can talk about these, I guess. Let me blow this up so it's readable here. Much better. Of course, we already read it says August 11th, Matt Reddick, watching online from Dallas, Texas, caught an unidentified moving image on the water via the Nessie on the Net webcam. Did you know there's a Nessie on the Net webcam, everybody? I didn't. And now I was today old when I learned that. He explained that at 3 hours 56 minutes, I guess, or just between the clearing of the trees, just above the shore in the middle of the frame, something surfaces. It appears to surface and dive, leaving wakes as it swims left. When I applied filters, I could see something else a ways to the left that I missed in the original at the beginning of the sighting. You can view his video on YouTube. There's a link. I don't know. We might as well look at it, right?
We may as well.
May as well. Oh my God, it's 11 hours, 54 minutes long.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna dig through that.
Is there a timestamp? Someone might have commented on it.
It's 3 hours, 56 minutes. Well, I guess we could see if I can get to that. 3:56. I guess we can go right around. Let's go around 55 and start there. Let's have a look. That's really not much to look at. 3:55, 56. Yeah, I got nothing. Where did
Does it say where is it supposed to pop up?
Yeah, hold on. Let me look. Let me look again at that description to see if it's. It says just above the shore, in the middle of the frame, something surfaces. It appears to surface and dive, leaving wakes as it swims left. Okay, so let's go back to Nessie Cam. 3:55. Yeah, I guess we're just about right there. Didn't I say 3:56?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, 3:56. So we're not quite there. That's why I'm not seeing anything. Okay.
Oh, well.
Sorry, I'm impatient. I'm trying to queue it up so we don't waste a lot of time on this. But, okay, so it should be coming up in now. In the middle of the frame.
Oh, I see it.
Where?
It's
This?
on the shoreline.
Right here?
If you go to... Hold on. I have to wait for the delay. Right where? Yeah, right there. Right there. Yep.
Okay. Well, that is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's go back. I went too far. 56, 55, 39, 5601. So look in this area. There it is right there. I think there's a shadow. Yep. Well, that is curious though, isn't it?
That is.
Yep.
So that's like far away, so from the size that would be up close,
It's like there and then it's not. Then it's there and then it's not. It almost seems like, could it be like a duck diving or what? It looks much bigger though. It really does. It looks much bigger than that. I'm not seeing a wake. Well, there's kind of a wake around it, I guess.
Plus, there's the quality of the camera to consider from that far away too.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't, if it's only 10 or 12 feet big, it's not going to be like Godzilla coming up here. It's going to be, I guess, something like that, right? There it is again.
Yeah.
So whatever it is, I mean, there really is something happening here. I don't know what, but it is a little curious.
I guess the only thing this really proves is that something was there.
Yeah, there was something there, folks. So, I mean, you're seeing it on the Loch Ness Monster live cam on YouTube by Nessie on the Net. Okay. Nessie on the Net. If you want to watch the Nessie feed, you can certainly review this stuff. Maybe you'll see something too. I don't know. That is very interesting. There is really something crossing here, but what it is, it's absolutely ambiguous. There's no way to tell anything about it other than there is something that appears to be going across the surface. And I really don't see a wake though. I don't know where he's seeing a wake, but maybe he was able to clean it up a little more than that. It doesn't look like just a normal kind of pixelization. I mean, the resolution on this webcam is pretty thin anyway, but I don't know. Looks like it must be gone now. So there you go, folks. That's Nessie on the Net is the YouTube channel, Nessie on the Net. Definitely go review it if this is your thing, and maybe you'll see something else as well. This is from August 9th, this feed. So that's pretty interesting. Okay, so July 30th, VCOC is the one that we just talked about. The 26th of July, Sebastian Oscar and Alexander Norman were visiting the loch from Surrey and took a trip on the Jacobite cruise boat They said that towards the end of their boat ride at around 11:30 a.m., as they were heading back, Sebastian saw in the distance about 20 to 30 meters ahead what he described as a black dot. Those black dots. They explained that as they got closer to it, it was scaly black shape, the size of a dinner plate, and that it was higher at one end and was like a tiny slope. Sounds like a turtle, doesn't it?
It kind of does, yeah, by that description.
It sounds like a turtle. If it's the size of a dinner plate, maybe it was a turtle. They managed to capture this picture. And, of course, the friendly circle always helps to narrow it down. You know, I don't know. That's not enough to go on for me personally, but it's something. July 19th, a man and his daughter visiting from Chester reported seeing an unidentified movement on the loch. They were hill walking above Fort Augustus and made the sighting at 3:20 p.m. They said a cruise boat had passed some 20 minutes earlier, but that there was no boat activity at the time of the sighting. But, you know, it's anecdotal. Okay. The 2nd of June, a young man visiting from Cambridge saw an unidentified creature. What does he say? For 2 seconds in Urquhart Bay, close to the castle on Wednesday, the 2nd of June, around 11:30 p.m., while scanning the loch surface with binoculars from the castle site. He said a hump came up going against the waves, looking at like a turtle's back. Looking like a turtle's back. Black in color with green tinge to it. He reported that the weather was warm and sunny with excellent visibility. And I'll tell you what, I'll put this catalog in the YouTube feed. If you guys are interested in checking out more of this, you sure can. Again, I'm enthusiastic that there's something there that people are seeing. But, you know, unfortunately, there's nothing really, really solid to work with yet. There's just a lot of various sightings, and looks like most of them are from the Nessie on the net cam. So, and the resolution on that is never going to be definitive. It's just, you know, some attempt, I guess, to keep things interesting. But that's what
they deserve a 4K Nessie cam.
They do. They need one if they want people to really look at it and try to, you know, say, hey, I'm seeing Nessie here. That would be helpful. But at any rate, I don't know. It's something though, right? So there's a new Nessie sighting. I think that is exciting. Don't get me wrong. I'm not being tongue in cheek about all of it. I think that it's pretty powerful stuff. It's just nothing definitive from what we just read. Now, what time do we got? Yeah, this is perfect. We're going to get to the Brent Swanser article, and then we're going to get to the trail cam terrors, folks. And
all right.
This is an article from our good friend Brent Swanser. Of course, I sing his praises all the time, and it's not because I'm trying to be disingenuous, but I honestly love this man's writing. I love the work that he does, and I love that the effort he puts into every one of his articles. And I mean that sincerely. Like, this guy really does work hard at putting out really quality articles and stuff, and we've read them many times on the shows. And every time, I got to admit, I do end up learning things from this guy. He's just really that good. And so I hope you guys enjoy them as much as I do. But he's a wonderful guy. And if you want to catch up with him or get involved in his community, you can go to Facebook and go to Dark League Paranormal. He's really a fantastic guy. And he writes about all kinds of Fortean topics. And ufology, spirits, ghosts, the creatures, cryptids, and strange phenomena. This guy covers the whole gambit, but his work is really top-notch in my opinion. And you can find his work, his actual articles, on mysteriousuniverse.org. And Mysterious Universe, of course, is an amazing site all on its own, full of thousands of incredible articles written by several different authors like Nick Redfern, Brent Swanser, Paul Seberg, and several others. And they're all really fantastic. So if you're looking for a paranormal fix, that's a great place to start. And it's a podcast, too, and it's a very well-done podcast. So let's get to this article from Mr. Brent Swanser and get into it. And this is Mysterious Demon Gators and Crocodilian Cryptids of North America. Did you know about these, Sheldon?
I had no idea, actually.
Well, you're about to learn.
All right.
All right, so this is from April 16th, 2019. Again, on mysteriousuniverse.org. Check it out. Great site. Throughout the world are countless cases of unidentified, out of place, or just plain weird mystery creatures. Commonly called cryptids, ranging from lake monsters like Nessie to the likes of Bigfoots. And they are denizens of the wilds beyond our understanding, evading classification. Among these mystery monsters are the various strange creatures that seem to be very much crocodilian in nature, and which may be undiscovered species or even something more mysterious altogether. One of the most enduring and well-known cases of mysterious alligator cryptids are the stories of alligators roaming New York City sewer systems. Accounts of alligators lurking under New York's streets date back to the 1930s, when it is said to have been popular for families to buy baby alligators as pets. The story typically goes that when the alligators get too big to be properly cared for, they're flushed down the toilet or otherwise released into the sewer systems, where they survived on a diet of rats, garbage, and anything else they could get their teeth into. Over the years, various frightening reports surfaced of sewer workers coming across alligators lurking in the city's sewers. Sometimes the reports were embellished with details such as albino alligators or alligators that had somehow reached freakish sizes larger than normal. There were even stories of alleged mutant alligators that had developed abnormal coloring or other physical anomalies. In 1959, a curious account was reported in the book The World Beneath the City by Robert Daly, which is a historian of the development of utilities in the New York City. One chapter of the book is entitled Alligators in the Sewers and stems from a series of interviews conducted with longtime Commissioner of Sewers in New York, Teddy May. In the account, May explained that alligators have been sighted in the sewers since 1935 by sewer workers, but no one took such reports seriously at first. When the sightings continued and started truly spooking utility workers, many personally ventured into the sewers. It was there that May was startled to come across alligators with an average length of 2 feet. Seeing the stories were indeed true, a campaign was launched to eradicate the animals with poisoning, as well as flushing the alligators out to be shot by gun-toting hunters. In the account, May claimed that all of the sewer alligators had been wiped out by 1937. Cryptozoologist Lauren Coleman, who has done extensive research on the history of alligators in New York City's sewers, has uncovered many historical articles outlining actual alligators being found, captured, or killed in the sewers of New York, particularly during the 30s. The result of his findings have the historical significance of establishing a link with the supposed urban legend of alligators in the sewers and real historical cases of alligators being killed and even officially hunted down there. The result of Coleman's findings were published as Alligators in the Sewers, a journalistic vehicle in the Journal of American Folklore, September through October 1979. One intriguing article that Coleman uncovered was a story that originally appeared in the New York Times on February 10th, 1935. The article describes how several youths who were shoveling snow into a manhole cover near Harlem River came across an alligator measuring 7 to 8 feet long, thrashing about in the icy water below. The teens, led by Salvatore Condalucci, proceeded to capture and kill the animal, and many years later, when interviewed about the incident, Condalucci insisted that the event was true and factual. Articles such as these uncovered by Lauren Coleman, as well as the accounts outlined in Daly's book, clearly are at odds with the current official stance that alligators in the sewers of New York have always been pure urban legend. It seems, though, these accounts that the knee-jerk responses of alligators in New York City sewers being merely a myth are glossing over some of the history of alligators in fact being found there. Many modern-day reports seem to further point out the reality of alligators in the sewers. On July 22, 2013, a live 8-foot-long alligator was pulled from a sewer near Central Park. Wow.
Yeah.
Yikes. That is kind of spooky, right? 8 feet. That's significant.
That is very scary, actually. Yeah.
The alligator had allegedly long been preying on dogs, which prompted a hunt for its culminating in its capture. The alligator was killed, and an analysis of its stomach contents revealed the remains of at least 2 dogs, some rats, and a wristwatch. Fortunately, with no hand still attached to it. In 2010, an alligator measuring 2 feet long was found under a car near a sewer opening in Newton Avenue and 29th Street in the heart of Queens. Surrounded by startled onlookers, an emergency service unit used a long pole and a noose to corral the creature into a cage and capture it. The animal was handed over to city animal care and control officers who sent it to a wildlife sanctuary. In a perhaps ominous addition to the story, in the wake of the baby alligator's capture, animal care and control spokesman Richard Gentles stated that between 2 to 4 alligators or crocodiles are rescued in the city by his agency every year. It's not known how many of those statistical alligators were recovered from sewers. It seems clear that regardless of whether dramatic reports of giant mutant albino alligators exist under the streets are true or not, there certainly seems to be some truth to the idea that at least regular alligators can indeed be found in New York City's sewers. Yikes. There's a nice picture. Moving along, we came to other enigmatic alligator-like monsters. Deep in the dense, stagnant swamps along the border between Alabama and Florida, a curious story began circulating among the locals in around the 1920s that was first officially recorded by the University of Alabama professor Carl Carmer when he visited the area in order to write his 1934 travelogue, Stars Fell on Alabama. During his visit, locals told Carmer of a vicious alligator measuring 4.5 meters, nearly 15 feet long, which had emerged from the swamps to wreak havoc on the community. And while alligators were, in fact, a fact of life in this area, nothing was like the enormous beast that allegedly appeared out of the muddy murk to begin to terrorize the area from seemingly nowhere. Contrary to normal alligators, which are shy and mostly avoid humans, the lore is that this particular massive alligator had begun to aggressively haunt the swamps near Florala, Alabama, actively and fearlessly attacking dogs, cattle, mules, horses, and even people. But it seemed that in addition to its unusual size, this was no ordinary alligator. It was said that the creature possessed fiery red glowing eyes and was immensely powerful, able to easily rend large prey to pieces with its jaws, and its tail was claimed to be able to flip over a full-grown horse with one lash. One of the beastly alligator's feet had allegedly been partially shorn off by a steel trap at some point, giving it a distinctive two-toed track and leading to its nickname, Two-Toed Tom. It was Two-Toed Tom. As attacks spread to other areas and became more frequent, rumors began to spread that the alligator was not an ordinary animal at all, but rather a malevolent demon from hell. And his allegedly sinister exploits grew from attacking livestock and humans to hunting down and taking advantage of women. Oh, come on. If found out in the swamps by themselves. As such stories spread, so did the terror they invoked, and those who wandered into the wilderness or near the water were very, very wary of the telltale two-toed footprints in the muck and red eyes glowing in the evening gloom. Locals in the area where the monster was said to lurk were said to have begun to take matters into their own hands, waging a war against the demon gator. A hefty bounty was supposedly offered for Two-Toed Tom. The hunters scouring the swamp supposedly often shot the beast, but it was unfazed. Laid steel traps, which it managed to mostly avoid, and it proved to be very good at eluding those who would kill it, while at the same time continuing its bloody rampage. For nearly 20 years, it was said that the mysterious gator was actively hunted, even as it mercilessly stalked the swamps for more victims. Yet it always managed to get away or shrug off all efforts to harm it. Perhaps the most well-known incident during this raging battle against the monstrous two-toed Tom is the account of a farmer named Pap Haynes, who raised livestock on 40 acres of land he had purchased from a lumber company. Although he had been assured that the tales of the monster alligator were just scary folklore, Haynes allegedly one day found one of his mules ripped apart and two-toed tracks trailing blood and viscera down to a nearby pond. Speculating that the beast was probably still wallowing in the pond, digesting its meal, the infuriated Haynes set about destroying it once and for all. With the help of his sons, Haynes filled up 15 syrup buckets with sticks of dynamite and began tossing them into the pond 3 at a time. Perhaps not overkill considering the creature's legendary toughness. The loads of dynamite resulted in a spectacular explosion that sent plumes of water, mud, and vegetation and scattered trees high into the air, completely devastating the pond and leaving very little chance for anything to have survived.
Give that guy so much respect.
Want to get it done. Get her done. Satisfied that two-toed Tom could soon be floating belly up, everyone present got quite a shock when just moments after the massive eruption of water and flying debris, there were screams accompanied by riotous thrashing of water coming from another nearby pond. Knowing what this was undoubtedly meant, a Grimm's Haynes went to go finish what he'd started along with his sons and a posse of 8 armed local men. When the men arrived, they were greeted by the glinting red eyes of two-toed Tom, sinking under the bloodied water still frothing from all of the splashing about. It soon became apparent where all of the blood had come from, as the badly mauled, ripped-apart corpse of Haynes' 12-year-old granddaughter was reportedly laying nearby. It was later surmised that she had been on her way to the other pond to see what all of the explosions were about when she had come across the vengeful demon alligator. Perhaps none too happy about the explosive efforts to exterminate it, the heartbroken, furious Haynes would allegedly spend the rest of his days caught up in an obsessive quest to kill the beast, and it is said that even when the hard times hit the community and his friends and family were moving away to make a living, Haynes refused to budge, instead intent on remaining where he was in order to complete his vendetta to slay two-toed Tom. He would die a lonely old man without ever having gained the vengeance he sought. One of the reasons Haynes may not have been able to ultimately kill the enormous alligator would be because it is said that shortly after the dynamite attack, two-toed Tom apparently went on the move, crossing the state line into Florida to continue his marauding slaughter of cattle and people. Two-toed Tom began to actively prowl the waterways of Choctawhatchee River and Holmes Creek swamps of Holmes, Walton, and Washington counties, as well as Sand Hammock Lake in the town of Esto. In Holmes County, where he was often seen wallowing about or basking on shore, and it was said that his groaning bellows could be heard reverberating through the night. The alligator was often said to let out a terrifying grunting roar in response to the whistle signaling shift changes at the Alabama-Florida Lumber Company, and his shining red eyes and two-toed tracks became a common sight in these areas, and it was reported that Tom drove out all of the other alligators in the areas he frequented, and that the corpses of slaughtered cattle, not camels, as well as dogs, missing chickens, and other farm animals were common. Interestingly, sightings of Tom at this time tended to make him out to be much larger than he had ever been depicted to before. And one group of boys who spied him basking on a sandy shore described the beastly gator as being from 5.5 to 7.3 meters, that's 18 to 24 feet long. Again, efforts to shoot Tom proved futile, and it was reported that the creature was impervious to bullets. Wow. Tom's a stubborn old bastard.
Oh, yeah.
One particular dramatic encounter that occurred during this period happened when a young girl was walking with her mother along a sandy path near Sand Hammock Lake. The girl went ahead to play and was surprised to hear her mother let out a sharp, panicked scream. When the girl turned to see what was going on, she was met with the sight of the monstrous alligator lunging out from the brush onto the path they were on. Two-toed Tom then allegedly reared up on its hind legs, and let loose with a blood-curdling roar, which, along with the screams of the girl and her mother, attracted the attention of some nearby local men. The men reportedly came running to the scene, with one of them armed with a high-powered rifle. A few rounds were fired at the beast, and it fell still, seemingly dead. Yet when the men gathered around it to inspect the corpse, Tom jumped to life and allegedly swept them all off of their feet with a mighty lash of his tail before scurrying off into the swamp. Boy, he's he's a tough old bug.
You did say it. He's stubborn.
Yeah, he is. After years of terrorizing the swamps, rivers, and lakes of the region, two-toed Tom started to be seen less and less, until he apparently just sort of disappeared. The tales of the giant alligator were very much still alive, though, and he became a prominent legend in the area. Then, in the 1980s, a giant alligator path was found, scrawled across the muddy sandbar on the Boynton Island of the Choctawhatchee, I think that's right, Choctawhatchee, which suggested a specimen of enormous size. When the tracks of the alligator were examined, it was found that one of the feet had only 2 toes, once again propelling Tom into the limelight and igniting talk that the killer gator was still alive and well. Despite the fact that Tom would have been coming along in years by that time, sightings, reports of the legendary beast started coming in again. And several hunts were organized to try to track the creature down without success. There was much speculation about what had happened to Tom in the previous years, with talk that he had merely gone into hiding in the remote areas of the swamp. To this day, there are those who claim two-toed Tom is still out there prowling the swamps of northwest Florida and southeast Alabama, with the occasional sighting still made, and the alligator is a major fixture of local folklore. There is even a two-toed Tom festival held every summer in the town of Esto, Florida. Was two-toed Tom ever real? Or was this all pure folklore and eerie campfire stories? If it's based on actual events, how much of the tale has been exaggerated, and how much is true? We may never know the answers to these questions, but it seems to be an interesting case that illuminates how legends of strange creatures can take off, weaving around themselves, ever-expanding tales that make the line between reality and fantasy blurred and uncertain, as well as the possibility that such tales potentially have their roots in real animals. Where does myth end and reality begin? More than just being considered flights of fancy, perhaps such stories are worth further analysis, maybe offering insights that can be revealed if we just dig deep enough and make the line between the real and fantastical clearer and more defined. Who knows? Maybe two-toed Tom is lurking out there after all. More than just a dark tale, coiled in the gloom, ready to pounce. His malevolence gaze and piercing the swampy night. Wow, this is a really long article. I didn't realize I was getting into so much here. Guess we're doing overtime tonight, folks.
Just a bit. That's all right.
Another cryptid gator that with ties strongly to myth and folklore is a giant amphibious creature. Long reported, particularly from around Lake Okeechobee, Florida, called Snalligaster. Okay. It is said to be an enormous alligator-like creature with thickly muscled tail and propeller-like blades on the end, a long bony spine on its back, and is often described as having scraggly hair up and down its body and lacking any legs. They are said to lie in wait in shallow waters of cypress swamps for unsuspecting prey, which they will then either stun with their tail, throw onto their back spike, or just clamp down upon with their formidable jaws. It is known to store uneaten carcasses upon its spike in a grisly display, and tends to prefer clubbing the bodies into a bloody pulp before eating them. Look at that. There's a depiction. It does look like a propeller on its tail. Yikes.
Oh, God.
Yikes.
Yeah.
That's horrible. Yeah, you wouldn't think anything aquatic would really have hair, but yeah. Woodsmen and travelers throughout the ages have long come back with spectacular tales of coming across the Snalligaster in the swamps, insisting that it is a real creature. One curious historical account involves a man named Inman Eldridge of Defuniak Springs, Florida, who was on the hunt for a slave who had escaped into the swamp. He apparently came across the body of the slave lying face down, which he at first took to be impaled upon a branch of a toppled tree in the water. It was only when the massive tree began to swim off into the murk that he realized that this was some sort of gargantuan crocodilian monster with the slave skewered upon a single wicked-looking back spine. Other crocodilian cryptids seem to be more along the lines of a classic lake monster. One of the more well-known strange beasts of Utah is what has come to be called the Bear Lake Monster. Bear Lake itself is located in the Utah-Idaho border, just northeast of Salt Lake City, and is a popular destination for people looking to enjoy the lake's many outdoor activities, such as boating, fishing, and the taking in the rather breathtaking azure turquoise coloration of its waters, which have earned it the nickname the Caribbean of the Rockies. It is a locale of stunning natural vistas, to be sure, but it is also purportedly the home of a large mysterious water monster, very much like some of the sort of prehistoric dinosaur. Tales of a monster in Bear Lake go back to at least the early 1800s, and the creature was apparently often seen by early Mormon colonists cavorting about in the water near shore, which has most commonly been reported as being cream-colored serpentine creature around 30 feet in length. That's an awful lot of creature. Oof.
Yeah.
With a wide alligator-like head, short, squat legs, and powerful tail. At times, the creature was said to come ashore for brief periods to just roam about. And it was occasionally reported as spewing water as if through an air hole. The creature was also known to be a native Shoshone people of the region. It was known to the native Shoshone people of the region, who called it the water devil and regarded it as a malicious, evil entity to be avoided at all costs. The monster was said to not be shy about dining on unwary animals or even humans that came too close to the shore or went swimming in the lake's inviting waters. And it was mostly reported as quite aggressive indeed. The Shoshone, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Shoshone, I think that's right, often claimed that the beast's favorite thing to eat was the various bison in the area at the time. Sightings were supposedly made of the creature well into the late 1800s, with some notable reports by early pioneers to the region. The creature was seen in the 1860s by the sons of Marion Thomas and Phineas Cook as they were out on their boat fishing. The massive creature in this case came dangerously close to the small boat, and the two witnesses were terrified that it might actually capsize them. In 1871, two men named Melando Pratt and Thomas Rich saw the bizarre creature and claimed to have hit it with shots fired from their rifles, but the bullets had no noticeable effect. A few years later, in 1874, a wagon train captain named William Budge saw the monster around 20 yards from the shore and would describe the encounter thus. Its face and part of the head were distinctly seen, covered with fur or short hair of a light snuff color. It was flat-faced with very full large eyes, prominent ears, and a neck of about 4 to 5 feet in length. This particular sighting gained a lot of publicity at the time, as it had been related personally to none other than Brigham Young himself, who many may know as one of the early Mormon pioneers and leaders of the Latter-day Saint movement, as well as the second president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Indeed, after the sighting, Young himself supposedly made arrangements to catch the creature by linking a 300-foot-long length of rope to the shore and topping it with a thick cable and a massive barbed hook baited with mutton, which was then suspended into the water with a buoy. Although on every attempt the bait was stripped away by something, the creature was not caught. Around this time, a local rancher claimed that something had taken 20 of his sheep from their grazing grounds near the shore of the lake. The creature would become a sensation in the media, appearing in a variety of newspapers, such as the Deseret News and the Salt Lake City Tribune, among others, but the furor faded somewhat when one of the first journalists to report on the creature, a Joseph C. Rich, claimed that his original story in an 1868 article had been an elaborate hoax. Nevertheless, sightings continued On into the 1900s and 1907, two men rather dramatically claimed to have seen the monster come crashing into their camp to kill and drag away one of their horses. And there were other sightings as well this year. It was seen again in 1946 by a Boy Scout scoutmaster, and was seen as recently as 2002 by a local business owner, Brian Hershey. Whether it ever really existed or not, the Bear Lake Monster has certainly become part of the area's lore and legends, and has interestingly become a sort of tourist attraction. Oh, wow, we're almost there, okay. Similarly, there's a lake monster in Nebraska's Alkali Lake, now popularly called Walgren Lake, that is said to more or less look like an oversized 40-foot-long horned crocodile of some sort. Reports of the monster began coming in from 1921, and perhaps the most famous sighting was made in 1923, when witness J.A. Johnson was with two friends at the lakeshore when they spotted a large creature with a rough grayish skin that looked very much like an alligator, with a rhinoceros horn atop its head. After a moment of observing the odd creature, it apparently thrashed its mighty tail and disappeared under the waves. Considering that sightings quickly petered out, and this has not been seen again in modern times, despite all of the recreation seekers at the area, it is thought that Alkali Lake Monster is either gone or was completely a hoax from the beginning. Here we have looked at a mere selection of some of the very odd crocodilian monsters and demon gators said to prowl the waters of North America, and which could fall into a whole range of categories. Are these just myths and folklore? Are they mysterious, undiscovered species? Are they something more demonic or supernatural in nature? Or are they merely hoaxes and trickery? It's hard to lean into any one answer too heavily, considering the variety of cases that we've seen here. But no matter what one may think, they are all intriguing accounts nevertheless, and a category of strange creatures all their own. Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty creepy.
It's not outside of my purview of belief. I mean,
Sure.
This is the Paranormal Portal. We talk about UFOs, aliens, and all, and cryptids. So I mean, it's not too far out there that it could have existed at one point or another, or maybe never existed. But who knows?
You know, you're with me. You grew up on the shores of Lake Pepin, and there is, of course, the what do they call Pepe, is the rumored sea monster of Lake Pepin, and I had swam in that lake all my life, and of course, you know, some of these sightings, in some of these cases, and I can't say which are actually creatures and which aren't, but as I'm growing up looking at the lake all my life, you see a lot of strange things, but most often they're in the form of logs, and these logs that become waterlogged, they almost look biological, the way that they move through the water. And there's a lot of things that can make a log look like it's moving and maybe make you think it's not a log. One is if the wind is blowing, maybe opposing the current. And so the log seems to be cutting a real path through the water, when it's actually just the waves racing past it as it's drifting along lazily in the current. The other is the idea that, well, it went under. Oh, it's there again. It went under. Well, the buoyancy of a really saturated log, it's hardly buoyant at all. In fact, they oftentimes barely poke up at all. So it might be minutes until you see some part of that log as it's drifting by in the current. And, I've seen tons of those things, and, we had to watch for them all the time. Growing out on the water, that was a big concern. You don't want to hit a deadhead. That's what we called these submerged or mostly submerged waterlogged logs.
Oh, yeah.
Because you hit them with an outboard mortar and boom, you might as well start paddling because you just sheared the shear pin on the prop, and there's nothing you can do unless you got more shear pins. Well, pretty much anybody that was out on the water all the time always carried extra shear pins for that very reason. But when I didn't even know about Pepe growing up, and it wasn't until I was very much an adult that I finally heard this legend. Now, there is allegedly a Native First Nations legend of there being some kind of canoe tipper, this huge creature in the lake that seemed to, capsize canoes and then prey on the people in them. I don't know. I mean, I didn't know about that growing up, which is probably good because I really wouldn't have enjoyed swimming nearly as much if you have this idea that there's something big out there that might eat you. But, and even here, it seems wherever there's a great body of water. Now, where I live now, we have Lake Pend Oreille here, which is an incredibly big but beautiful, very, very deep lake. And it's so deep that it's literally like number 2 in the world for the deepest inland body of water. Like it goes down over 1,000 feet. And I don't remember the exact depth, but it's so deep that actually the Navy had, or maybe still, they might still own it, but they have a naval base on the south end of the lake that they used to test submarines, or at least submarine designs.
What?
Yeah, right. Wow. Right here in northern Idaho. And you wouldn't think that, but so there's with that kind of depth, what could be in there? Well, I don't know, but there's apparently the Pend Oreille paddler is the name around here for the big lake monster that allegedly exists. Does it? I don't know. I haven't spent much time on this lake. I've only been out on the water a few times, but I guess anything's possible. Again, believe what you want. The Paranormal Portal will never be the platform trying to tell you that something is real or something is not real. It's up to you to figure out, but we just present ideas and have discussions. So wherever you're at on the spectrum of that discussion point is perfectly fine. But I think it's interesting nonetheless because it doesn't surprise me at all that there are many things out there that we just haven't found yet or haven't categorized yet or haven't studied yet. And so I love the topic of cryptids because just like you, Sheldon, I think it's very much a plausible possibility.
I mean, it kind of brings, the world we live in versus like the worlds that we want to live in. Like, let's say you're a Harry Potter fan, you want to live in that world, or Lord of the Rings, or whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. It kind of brings a little magic into our dull world. There's always magic around us, I believe, but it brings it in more of a in-your-face kind of way, in ways that you can't ignore. And I think that's probably why it's one of my most fascinated. One of the subjects I'm the most fascinated with.
Right. I would agree with you. I think that, it's the reason I started the show, is that I love the idea that there's more mystery, there's more magic, and there's things out there we just haven't learned about. I love that world. I don't want to live in the world where everything's all sorted out and it's all categorized and labeled and put away. I like the idea that we're living in a mysterious place that we haven't even really begun to scratch the surface of, so, and maybe it's a romantic idea, but it's, I think there's something to all this. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be doing it.
It's true.
Yeah.
Also, since we were talking about the gator cryptids and those stories and whatnot, I sent you on Discord a little video that had to do with the story you're reading.
Oh, okay.
It's a video in 2016. It's like literally shorter than a minute, but I posted in the Discord. If you want to play for everybody else, you can. But it's a video of someone found a gator in the sewer drain right outside his house.
But where? Where's this house?
I don't know.
Oh.
It was a video I saw from years ago, and as soon as you read that story, I'm like, oh, I remember that video. And so I thought
if he's in Florida, that's not a big surprise, or Louisiana or something. But if he's in Canada, then that's really weird.
That would be different, yes.
Yeah, that would be different. But yeah, I'll look at it, and it's certainly something that, if it is indeed qualify, we'll definitely show it on the show. But if it's just a normal, hey, I got a gator outside my house, and I live in northern Florida, okay, well, that makes sense. But
yeah,
if it's somewhere that shouldn't have gators, yeah, that's pretty exciting. But speaking of videos, folks, it's time. Are you ready? I gotta roll 2 intros on this. This one's first. It's time for the Trail Cam Terrors. All right, folks, tonight's Trail Cam Terrors is a special one because it comes courtesy of Sasquatch Chronicles. Not Sasquatch Chronicles in its proper form, but in Wes's new show that he's starting up called Chronicles After Dark. So we're going to play that now, folks. I hope you enjoy this. I did. This is awesome. And you get kind of a sneak peek at the new addition to the Sasquatch Chronicles family of entertainment. So here we go. I hope you enjoy it. Oops. There we go. If you look back here, you see something moving.
Oh, yeah.
Still moving. I can't.
Yep.
Can't get
Wow.
closer.
Shh. Quiet on the side.
Tonight we're actually chatting with a gentleman who goes by the nickname Iron Man, and Iron Man got this video in Texas. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. And he's going to be coming on the podcast to chat with me about it. I wanted to bring him on tonight. I know that you're a retired preacher, and you live out there in North Texas, kind of out on the farm. If you would, tell us a little bit about this video. What did you end up seeing beyond what we can interpret from what we're seeing? What did you see with the naked eye, I guess is what I'm saying.
All right, Wes. What was happening was it was July the 24th, about 4 weeks ago, Saturday morning. As always, I'm going out to my prayer room. I'm a pastor, so I'm always going out to my prayer room to prepare my message. And it was just a beautiful morning. Sun was coming up, and I'm out there sipping coffee, playing with my new pup out there, just having a good time and just getting ready to go to the prayer room. And I looked toward the east, something caught my eye, and I could see it looked like a big head, and it was moving across a couple pastures over, and it was moving real quick, and I said, this is strange. So I get to my pocket as quick as I can to turn on my phone, try to get it on video, and try to zoom in on this thing. And I started watching it, trying to keep it in frame, and it's moving quickly. And I noticed that it looks like a deer on its back. And I'm thinking, man, this is crazy. This thing's huge. It's moving fast. And I'm trying to keep it in frame, watching it. And, it was hard to do, And so it went down to the bottom of the property down there, and it looked like it got in some trees. And I couldn't see it with my eyes, but I kept a phone going for a little bit longer, and I'm glad I did, because it came out and it went behind the post, and then it just disappeared. I think it just went back toward the east and probably went toward the lakes area, up that area, and I'm not sure exactly where it went, but I couldn't see it no longer. So that was basically it, and it was kind of terrifying but exciting and all at the same time, just trying to stay focused, and just couldn't believe what I saw.
Yeah, it's very cool, and I can't wait to actually chat with you on the podcast, because I know there's a lot of different things you and I are going to chat about, different experiences that you had anyway. This, as I sit here and I'm watching this video, it almost looks like the creature stops and actually looks at you.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it looked at me because the sun was coming up, and I could tell that it was a reddish color. But what happened as I studied it closer on my video and I blew it up on my iPad, what it does is it comes to a fence line right there, and it steps over that fence line like it's nothing. And I think it's about 3 seconds that it pauses. And that's amazing, because I measured the fence out where it crossed. It was 48 inches tall. And so I'm thinking that it probably just took its hand and pressed down the fence and stepped right over it and went like it does it all the time, So, yeah.
Yeah, and I can't wait to chat with you more on the podcast. I appreciate you jumping on here with me to kind of discuss this video. and I'll see everyone on the podcast.
So there you have it, folks. A little sneak peek. I'm sorry for the sound quality. I'm pretty sure that was from playing it over my many layers of things that are going on here. But a really cool video, and of course, tune into Sasquatch Chronicles for that full interview. That's going to be a great one. But it's a great video, and it's one of those that if and you can see a much better version of it over on SasquatchChronicles.com, but you can, if you get it, you can actually like zoom into it if you have the ability, like on an iPad or whatever, and you can see it's carrying something, and they believe it's a deer. I mean, or a dog, which may or may not be the case, but yeah, it's a powerful video, and it's moving. Whatever it is, it's moving, and it looks really impressive. So I hope you guys will check that out, and I hope you didn't mind having a little sneak peek of it here on the show tonight.
Oh, I thought that was really cool footage. You can even see it, like Wes said, I think that it jumps right over that gate, and you can see how tall it is based upon like the gate that you see right in front of him. You can see how big that is. So if you can just jump over that like nothing, and it's pretty good footage overall.
I think the coolest thing for me is the speed that thing is traveling through that entire range of territory. I mean, it's not like a walking path. This thing is walking across pastures and over fences and stuff. So it's really moving. I mean, when you think of what is the stride like for one of these creatures, well, it doesn't take him long to get right out of frame. I mean, he's just constantly moving and going, and whether or not he was even this Bigfoot or Sasquatch as it may be, was aware of the guy sitting there or not, who knows? I think they tend to be really super tuned in, and they know when we're there and when we're watching. But man, this thing was getting gone, and it's not like it was running. It was just a stride. You can see as it's moving that smooth, fluid motion, and it's just so impressive. Very, very cool. The walking was definitely like a quick gliding. Yeah, that's what Rachel says. Mm-hmm. I agree. I mean, it's just so fluid, and it's not like it's bobbing up and down like it was a person. It's just going. And if you ever watch like the Discovery Channel or anything on like, you look at the big cats or any animal that is running down prey or something, one of the things I was always amazed at was like watching footage of like cheetahs, and this is a great example. But if you watch footage of cheetahs slowed down, I mean, their legs are exploding like like a cartoon, like Scooby-Doo in a cartoon. Almost looks like a wheels under them. They're just moving so fast. But if you look at their head, the head is absolutely stationary. It's running on almost a perfect plane, and and that makes sense. They have to be acutely able to see what's going on around them, where the prey is, and all of that. But it's just amazing. But in this video, you get a sense of that same locomotion where the body's moving, and it's not running. It's just a big stride, and it's covering ground, but that head is just on a plane. And I'm very impressed by that, because of course the first thing that people would jump to is, oh, it's some idiot in a suit just playing a joke, or it's just a person. Well, I challenge any person to walk through that kind of terrain and keep their head on an absolute plane. I mean, we constantly bob as we walk. I mean, it's just how we do it, it's just in our locomotion. So you think what you can, think what you will, and it's up to you. But I'm really impressed by that video. Granted, it's a long shot. It's way out there, but I think when you start looking at the mechanics of what you're looking at, it doesn't seem that it's hard for me to believe at all that is a genuine recording of a Sasquatch covering those pastures. Very cool. And special thanks again to Wes Germer and Sasquatch Chronicles and Chronicles After Dark for letting me showcase that here on the show. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sheldon, did you have a good time tonight?
Oh, great time, actually.
Okay.
Got to learn more about the crocodile cryptids and just like other cryptids in general. Like it's nice to know like how big the cryptid sphere is. Like it's not just Bigfoot, it's not just Dogman. There's more to it. Like even lesser known stories are even a part of it, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, exactly. It's just really, really powerful. Powerful stuff, man. We live in a mysterious world full of possibilities, but that's what we do here on the portal. So, in closing, I would just say, everybody, please check out the podcasts. As always, our podcasts are out on all the major platforms: Spotify, Pandora, iHeart, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, etc., CastBox. So if you haven't already found the Paranormal Portal out on the podcast universe, check it out. I would love your support there as well. And likewise, if you are watching or listening to the podcast on one of those platforms and you have the ability and you like the show, please leave a nice remark or a nice review. That would help us out a ton. If you hate the show, never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. It's fine. Just move along.
Well, if you hate the show, they're probably not even here anymore.
Well, you never know. Some people love to come in and hate. That's just what they do. They keep tuning in just to tell you how much it sucks. It happens all the time, but it's either way. I guess as long as they give some of their time to the show, that's awesome. And please, if you're watching here on YouTube, if you haven't already, please subscribe. Check the status of your subscriptions. I'm hearing more and more people are saying, I'm unsubscribed. I don't know how. And, I don't know what it is. In all fairness, it could just be, the fact that the YouTube's network and systems have got to be incredibly complex. And every time they run an update, I'm sure it affects things like subscriptions and stuff. Having worked in IT myself, I can tell you that you can install one program and screw up 15 other ones, and it takes you a while to fix everything. So it doesn't surprise me much that people's subscriptions might be dumping just as a byproduct of things that they're doing to the network there. I don't think that it's necessarily malicious. It may be, but I don't know. I just think it's very plausible that it happens. So keep checking your subscriptions. Keep checking that your notifications are still triggered as well. And I'll be back tomorrow night with Dawn right here on the show. Friday night fun right here on the Paranormal Portal. 2 hours of it. God, we've almost gone 2 hours tonight. Almost an hour and a half. Can you believe it?
Wow.
It's gone quickly, though. I hope you guys have enjoyed the journey. Thank you so much for being here with us. Sheldon, anything in closing?
Absolutely. If you want to stay more connected to us or the Paranormal Portal community in general, I am entering in the Discord link in the chat. You can join there and stay more connected with us and ask any questions. Feel free to chat with anyone there. We're always welcome for a good conversation.
Always. We love to talk. And I'm always in and out throughout the days. So if you stop into the Discord, I'm constantly checking it. So if you want to say hi or you got something to share, just feel free. I'll be seeing it sooner or later. But anyway, folks, that's going to wrap it up for us tonight on our Thursday night show. God, what day is it? Jeez. And so, who am I? What's my motivation? I don't know. But I hope you've had a good time, and thank you so much for being here. And, the Unknown said he doesn't get notifications. Check that notification bell, Unknown. You should be getting them. I don't know. It's anybody's guess why, but I just know it's always important to keep checking those because they do get turned off. So ring the bell. Absolutely, Ruger. You're absolutely right. So, all right, guys, that's all we got for you tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, and tune in tomorrow night. Sheldon, you're going to be back on Saturday?
I'll be here.
All right, so tune in Saturday as well. Tune in every day we're here. We're doing a live show right here on YouTube Wednesday through Sunday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So we'd love to have you join us then. So anyway, that wraps it up. That's all I got. Have a wonderful evening. And remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day. And remember to laugh as much as you can. And Sheldon, you're going to give the Pledge of Allegiance there.
Giving my heart to the portal.
Oh, that's sweet of you. All right, guys. That's it for us. Good night. Take care. And we'll see you tomorrow night.
Good night.